Folks, this is Brian. This is an Elderath Session review. I'd missed a couple of other of my game session reviews because I was putting up posters. You can see I've got one in the back here, but I've got more up front. In the process of putting one up, I started to slip on the table, and I ended up, not falling, but sliding down, right? Well, it turns out I ended up landing, sliding onto my laptop, my brand new laptop, and ended up breaking one of the hinges. I didn't notice until that night. I went to close it down and it popped right out. So I'm looking at it because everything was fine, didn't seem any issues. So I took it to our repair place. Hey, guy, is there any way we can get this thing fixed? It doesn't seem to have any electronics being broken. Can they do anything? And they weren't able to do anything. They couldn't get the parts. So I brought it home. I got some JP weld steel, stuck some putty under there, stuck it back in there, pressed it all down. I'll leave it up and open and see what happens. But I found out there was in fact some damage done because the first thing I noticed is my speakers weren't working because they're plugged into an AV port on the side, headphone port, right? So I had to get an adapter for an AV port to a USB and plug it into my tower thing here. Now my speakers were fine. And then I had just finished listening to a couple of YouTube videos. And I realized that, well, I had certain windows up, and one of them is, my channel with Twitter and Facebook and MeWe off the side. So when I do an upload, I've got those right there to hook into. And I remember that I did not record session 49 of my Elderath campaign. The laptop was working, so the screen capture software was working, so I got to find that and put that in the description. But from actual session review, I've got two cameras. I've got the laptop's built-in camera, and I've got this Logitech webcam that I use generally on my table for grid stuff. And when I first turned on my camera software, it was showing the table, and I'm trying to flip back and forth. There's got to be a way to turn it off so it's just this one camera, right? And I finally got it, but it was all black. I wasn't sure what was up with that, so I did a little test recording, and it could hear me fine, but there was no video. So not only did I lose the audio port on my laptop, I lost the video feed from the camera. Yeah, lovely. Okay, is that up too high? Probably. Let me try to turn that down some. There we go. Is that better? Okay, so anyway, session 49. It's month 3, which is Vain. It's the first week, 5th day of the week. We are discussing options. If you can remember from the last time what happened, we were camped out in the Knowles room, and there was an acrid smell coming out from behind the secret door. We rest for 12 hours, sleep for 8, meditate for another 4 in order for Wes to get some of his magic points back, because he was burning through them. Thank goodness for that star crystal focus thing that he's got, because it holds a lot. Well, anyway, so we're discussing options. What can we do now? Raymond and Runt actually, while we're discussing things, go back and they investigate the chamber that we had bypassed on the way to this room. And in this chamber, they're searching around because they're trying to find out if maybe the Knoll chieftain who had snuck out through the secret door is coming back around some other direction, or if they're set up in their ambush for us. The GM was kind of hinting at, hey, you guys have been resting for 12 hours. If they were going to do something, they would have done it by now. But so they're searching this room. And on the wall, brushing some of the grime and stuff off, they find a picture of sorts, right? And the wall here is different than the walls on the rest of the room and the hallways, similar to how the floor was, back in that other chamber. There's like this dividing line between rough stuff and something that had been here before. So they clear it away, and there's like these frames with various pictures and scenes and stuff that are, um, of ships and sea life and such. As obviously this Loranthian water worship stuff. Uh, so this particular scene depicts a central character, appears to be some middle-aged woman, and she looks like she's engaged in guiding folks away from some sort of danger on the horizon, which Wes is sketching this stuff in his book. Um, and Alexander, in looking at the picture, he got like a special on his search or scan or whatever it was. Observing this coastline and this mountain line look similar, like it's north of Karst, but the coastline itself isn't right. There's this island out there that they're directing people to, and that island's not out there. But these mountain line, yeah, that's where we are now. There's several villages depicted along the mountains there. That could be Karst there that forms from those two peaks there. Although the coastline itself is off, and there's that river that comes on down. So he's seeing all this stuff and explaining his interpretation of it to us. So we're kind of thinking maybe something happened to the coastline, so they don't line up right. But that island out there, we highlight the fact there was an island out there, and that this one village could possibly be Karst. Wes's notes and pictures and stuff. Okay, so on the move. We move west and then north. There are two knoll rooms. One had a secret compartment that we opened up that had already been emptied, right? No, secret compartments. Yeah, they are opened and empty. We go back to the secret door in the chamber that we had spent the night in. Okay, let's go through it. Hallway, real short to the west, and then a longer one to the north. And at the north end is a pile of something. We go to investigate. It's in fact dead gnolls. Most of them are females that appear to have been bleeding from their eyes and their noses. They do have a small pot full of coins. And in this pile is also the Gnoll chieftain. And he is wearing the back plate to the best breastplate that the Hobgoblin chieftain had been wearing, but the Gnoll chieftain had turned it around and was wearing it for the front. He's also carrying a wrapped up longsword, and this has that elvish script on that we don't recognize. Just like the Hobgoblin's axe. Raymond tries to read it, and he gets something like, death to my enemies, but, not the elvish sort of feeling. This doesn't sound like what somebody in writing Elvish would write like or sound like. So Raymond wraps it up carefully without touching it. But the passage dead ends. So we're all searching. None of us can find anything, but Alexander does in fact find a secret door. So this secret door opens into a large room full of barrels, crates, sacks, and other sorts of supplies. The crates here have markings that they come from Gib and Guldak, which are two of the evil cities back on the continent where we're from. There's foodstuffs here. There's supplies. On the north, there's a door. No, we go north. It's a chamber, so there's an entryway. So we go north, and there's a door on the east that's been bolted shut from this side, and there's some runes on it that say, "Those who lie within may rest eternally." And then it continues north and goes west, and then there's a north passage and a south passage, and we're starting to detect this sweetish, decaying flesh smell. It's very faint. So first thing we do is we head south, and it doglegs, right, set to the southeast. And at the bottom, there's this alcove on the west, and a bolted door on the right with one of those sliding window things in it. And Run's checking it out, and Alexander kind of slides the window open, is looking in, and it's dark, right? He can see a skeleton manacled to the wall, and there are more shapes in there as well. Maybe skeletons. But he's got the torch from Runt, and he's looking around, and further on to the south, on the floor, you can see a pair of grime-covered legs. The GM specifically mentioned that they were female legs. I guess that means they weren't as hairy. I don't know. But Alexander sees that. After Run gets the door open, he rushes in, um, gets a look of shock on his face. His pallor turns gray, and he freezes. And those of us who are there hear this female voice, "Stop, don't come in! Oh no, not another one! I'm sorry, I tried to warn him." Okay, so we have this little discussion. Okay, what do we really know about mythical creatures in our fantasy world, right? And some of us actually have monster lore, and Wes missed his roll by like 1%. So we got some information. There are creatures that's like sirens and gorgons, whose gaze can turn you to stone, right? So Wes kind of goes, now, how can we help you? And she says, "Have you killed the priest?" Well, we killed a shaman. We haven't seen a priest. "Oh, then you haven't killed him. We must leave quickly before he and his acolytes come. They're going to come soon." So Runt pushes the torch in front of Alexander, and looking into the light of the torch, so he can't see the lady down there in the cell, and drags Alexander's stone body out. And once he gets through the doorway itself, Wes then also helps him, to get the statue out of the way. But at that point, it becomes obvious that Runt doesn't need any help. He like critted his strength roll or something. And he pulls it smoothly out. Okay, so Wes calls in through the doorway. "Okay, what can we do to get you out of there if we can't look at you?" She says, "I'm manacled to the wall. Do any of you have any skill with lockpicking?" Oh, Runt does. He's been trying to hide that from us, but it's kind of come out a few times. "Do you have a cloak or something you can cover me with?" Okay, so in this alcove, there were in fact a stool and some cloaks. We were thinking, cultists, right? So, but it's helpful anyway. So we grab a cloak, and Wes kind of, covers his eyes, hands it out to her. She takes it. "It's okay, you can look now." So she's got the cloak draped over her head and over most of her body. Runt tries picking the lock, unsuccessful. He tries again. Okay, that one comes undone. And he tries to undo the other one. It's not successful. And while this is going on, we're kind of looking around, and some of the forms that are manacled to the wall are in fact stone. In fact, there's one right there who's got a bag in his hand, like there was a bag over her head, and he pulled it off and it got turned to stone. Runt tries again and manages to get the other one undone. And every time we get a success, she kind of reaches out with her hand, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," right? And Runt's kind of jumping back every time that happens. Well, this time when it happened, the rope slipped down. Runt failed his roll, which means he didn't look away fast enough, and Wes actually fumbled his. Well, he didn't fumble. He had an automatic failure, so he was staring right at her when it fell down. So we're both turned to stone. So we're almost at 2 PK. We got 3 stone players and 1 not, which is Raymond, the cleric, who's been in the hallway watching the back, waiting for this priest and his acolytes to show up. So Raymond is talking to the Gorgon. Says, "Okay, how are we going to do this? We can't carry all 3 of them." And she says that she can carry 1, and Raymond can carry 1. So Raymond grabs Wes, and the Gorgon then, Raymond says, "Grab Runt there." So she grabs Runt. The 2 of them, they leave out, put Alexander back in the cell, close the door. And then she kind of remembers how she came in. And so, you go right, then go right. No, go left. Go left, then right, then left, then right, then left. It's following the jig-jag up, right, and around. It comes out to, and there's a large cavern-like hallway that goes to one of the external doors. When they get up there, they run into some undead. I don't remember if they're skeletons or zombies, but Raymond blasts 3 different. It's not turn undead. Repulsions. 3 repulsion spells. He took out a couple on the first one, didn't do anything with the second one, and the third one finally took out the last one. and then they escape out. So they're dragging the two of us, and they get out and she kind of, okay, where are we gonna go next? And it's going to kind of heavy to drag these bodies around. And it turns out that she has um, some potions of stone to flesh back at her place, which is like 6 days away. So once they get out, she says, "Aren't you going to go back for the other one? You know, they were trying to sell me to some elf. She's probably going to be very angry when they get here and I'm not there." GM dropping hints left and right. But Raymond doesn't want to go back in. Um, so they kind of drag the two of us, the statues, to a copse of trees outside the little valley place, and kind of hides us in some bushes and stuff. And there's more discussion going back and forth about what to do next, what can she do, what can they do. Her place is 6 days away, so she's going to guess it would take a total of 14 days for her to get back. She's got 2 doses of the potion, so we're still short for a player. But she was going to put them underneath this rock by this tree, and then she's going to go away because she doesn't want to turn Raymond to stone by accident. While they're discussing all this, they decide, okay, let's go back and get Alexander. So they go back, but they go in through a different way, the same way we had come in initially, and then backtrack through the secret door and through the storage room, back down to the cell, get Raymond, and then take him back out. But him with us, so the 3 statues are here in the bushes, and then Raymond's going to just camp out, within sight of us for like 10 days. Then he's going to go somewhere else for the last 4, and then come back after 14 days and see if she actually left the potions or not. But on the first day he's out there, he's trying to figure out how he's got enough rations to take care of himself. But we were trying to figure out because he's got spells which can temporarily neutralize curses. So for like so many minutes or so many hours, us stone people would be flesh people. So he could like get. He was thinking of getting rations from us, but he's got his own. He's got plenty. But that first night, he runs into those 2 scouts from the base camp who are out scouting the area, keep an eye on things. They come and say, "What the hell? What are you doing out here? Oh, those your friends? The hell turned to stone? What are you doing?" So he gets the 3rd degree from them and saying, "Hey, it is not safe for you to stay out here, especially alone." But Raymond convinces them that he's working on some sort of ceremony to fix us, and it's going to take a couple of weeks to complete, and that he'll be okay. And that's kind of where we ended that session. Almost had a TPK. Oh man. Anyway, I'm catching up. Happy gaming.